Welcome to the Sykes & Company PA video blog featuring Ollin Sykes. Ollin, if I'm looking to buy a pharmacy, how do I know that I'm paying the correct price for that pharmacy?
That's a really good question, Rachel. Good morning. That's the kind of question we get almost every day with folks looking to purchase pharmacies. In fact, as soon as I get off this, I've got a conversation with somebody just on this topic. There are a number of popular methods that are used today to determine the value of a pharmacy. Of course, typically, the typical boomer today already has in his mind or her mind what they're looking to sell their pharmacy for. So they're typically being provided a price to work from, and I guess the potential buying pharmacist opportunity is to figure out whether that's a fair price or not. And what we typically do is if they're buying the assets, of course, what you're really buying there is not only the script files and the goodwill of that pharmacy. You're really buying the cash flow capability generation of that pharmacy, much more than a collateral-based situation. In that, a lot of banks are looking to make collateral-based loans, and a pharmacy really is not a collateral-based matter. It's a cash flow generation opportunity. So what we're trying to do is to take X number of scripts that that pharmacy has. We obviously want to grow those scripts if we buy it, but we obviously want to take a very fine look at what the recent history has been of the script volumes. We want to take a look at what the dispensing summary margins are showing that that particular pharmacy has been generating in terms of gross margin. Look at the trends there with respect to cash, third party, and Medicaid, if that information is available. We want to look at the trends with respect to the number of generics they're filling, because there's typically a much higher percentage margin on generics and cash than there are on third party fills. We obviously want to look at any fixed assets that are being bought. It might be furniture, fixtures, and equipment. We want to take a hard look at the script management system, any robots or automatic pill counters that may be in the pharmacies, to see what kind of value those pieces of equipment do have. Obviously, if there's land and building involved, that's got to be separately appraised. But you really need to diagnose the typically QuickBooks is being used in these pharmacies, so you really want to diagnose the QuickBooks file very well for the last 2 or 3 years to make sure you understand and dig down deep into what the general ledger expense categories have been, so that you got a really good understanding of not only the operating expense level at pharmacy, but more particularly the level of labor and payroll expenses that you have for clerks, techs, and pharmacists. You want to look at the hours that have been that pharmacy has been open. You want to quantify and make sure that they're open the correct number of hours, because in a lot of cases they may be open some hours where they're not generating a lot of revenue and payroll is excessive. So a lot of times you can refine things just by cutting down a few hours a day, and over a period of a week, a month, a year, it makes a lot of difference in dollars and cents. But you really want to look at kind of all of those things together.
And the person helping you, should they be an accountant or a business valuation expert?
Well, they definitely need to be somebody that has industry knowledge with respect to the purchase and transition of pharmacies. I know the pharmacy niche banks have expertise inside to help to some degree, although they will not get involved in making valuation decisions between you and the buyer. There are individuals in academia that have knowledge and that frankly we use in some of the valuation aspects of that. I know Dr. Richard Jackson, professor emeritus at Mercer University in Atlanta, who now lives down in Florida, consults and works with the NCPA Ownership Workshop Division. And he's very knowledgeable when it comes to various valuation methods. So there are resources out there that can be used. And of course, we're involved in valuations of pharmacies each and every day, more so on an ongoing basis versus a more more on a theoretical basis, more on a practicality basis than on a formal presentation basis, maybe like a Dr. Jackson would be. But there are plenty of resources that are out there. But again, if somebody is not an expert in this particular area, and if it's some local accountant or local attorney that's trying to help you that maybe has one other pharmacy that they deal with, they don't have the amount of knowledge base that they need in order to advise you. You need somebody that does this all the time.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want more information or have any questions, please feel free to contact Ollin directly.